What's up guys, CJ Ravens here, and today we are doing something a little bit different. Today I thought of a couple of games that should be made. This is part 2. I made a part 1 about a little under 2 years ago. It was one of my very first videos. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a little thing up there, a little annotation thing up there, and a link in the description so you can go check that out first. I highly recommend you do, but if you don't, it's fine. For this, I'm just going to be going over games that I think that should be made. For instance, there's a couple of remasters on here. Even though I hate remasters, there are a couple of them on here. There are a couple of sequels. There's a couple of original ideas. It's a mixture between a little bit of both remastered sequels and just original ideas. Stuff that I think would be fun in a video game. So these are games that should be made part 2. The first game is a little weird. The first game is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game. It doesn't necessarily have to be called that. It could be called like Shrunked or Midget or some shit like that. I don't know. Now there's one of two ways you could do this. One being the way I personally would do it, making it an open world RPG similar to like Borderlands 2, where you could play solo and have a lot of fun and play multiplayer with your friends and have just as much fun. There'd be missions, boss fights. One of the boss fights would be like beating a queen ant or beating a black widow spider. You know, you're a very small person. The story doesn't even have to be that great. It could be like, hey, you shrunk yourself. Now you're in the front yard somehow. How you got to the front yard, I don't know. That's not my job to decide. Now you got to make your way back upstairs to unshrink yourself, and that would be the end of the game, but they would have boss fights and stuff like that. It sounds stupid, but it would be fun. And the second way, which is something I wouldn't do, but I'd still probably have a lot of fun, making it an online open world game similar to like, I don't know, Ark Survival or something like that. I'd prefer the first one, but I probably wouldn't be as mad as the second one happened. That's just one of the games that I thought of. The next game, I am a huge WWE fan, so I would like a Mortal Kombat-like WWE fighting game. Again, just like the first game, there's one of two ways that you could do this. The first way, make it like a violent WWE game. Now we're like in the era of PG and just like family-friendly product. I just want something a little edgy, something a little cool. You know, having a WWE fighting game would make a lot of sense, especially if it's like the Mortal Kombat engine. It would be a really good game, honestly. It could be just like an arcade game. You have all your favorite wrestlers. You'd have like Shawn Michaels, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, hell, even Roman Reigns. And each wrestler would have their own finisher at the end of the match, similar to Mortal Kombat. If you're playing as Roman Reigns and you win, you would do a spear, and instead of doing just a regular spear, you would spear straight through them and sever them in half or something like that. If you're Seth Rollins and you do your finisher, you would curb stomp them and their head would explode. Something cool like that. It's like a Mortal Kombat-like game. I understand they probably wouldn't do that because they're in the PG era. They have a lot of sponsors and stuff like that. But it would be fucking cool. Can we have that? Can we? And the second way is doing it like the Injustice way, where it's just no blood, no finishers, it's just fighting, straight fighting, that's about it. I would like it either way, but preferably the first way is the one I would like it. Sticking with the fighting theme, a horror-themed fighting game using the Mortal Kombat engine, of course. Can't tell, I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. This horror game would feature some of your favorite horror movie characters like Michael Myers, Chucky, Jason, and Freddy Krueger. You could add finishers in the game, or you don't even have to add finishers. Maybe the game automatically, when you win, kills the next opponent or your opponent that you're going against or something like that. It's just a game that I think honestly would be fun. I'm a huge fighting game fan, and having the WWE game and even the horror movie game would be pretty awesome in my opinion. Left 4 Dead 3. Please? Now this is probably the least likely one because Valve seems to care more about Steam, and I'd never wish harm on anybody. I never wish bad luck or whatever it is on anybody, but I really wish Steam would just like go out of business or just all of a sudden do terrible, because then it would force Valve to start working on games more. If Steam just did all of a sudden bad, we would have Left 4 Dead 3, we would have Portal 3, we would have Half-Life 3, we would have different games that Valve would come up with. But Steam is just too popular, and they don't care about games anymore. They only care about selling games. But yeah, I wish we could have Left 4 Dead 3. It would be fun. Even if it's half as good as Left 4 Dead 1 or 2, it would still be a really good game. But it's probably the least likely one to happen, so whatever. Now these next two games are remastered games. I'm not that big of a racing fan, but honestly, I really love Need for Speed Underground. I really wish Need for Speed Underground was remastered. Better graphics, same game. If they had problems with the first game, fix it. And the next game is Midnight Club, specifically Midnight Club 3. I really loved Midnight Club 3. If you could remaster maybe all of the Midnight Clubs, but more just the third one, that would be great. Just like Need for Speed 3, better graphics, fix the game if it needs fixing, keep the game the same. I love those racing games. I just haven't really gotten into racing games since those games, though. A detective game, please. Please. I know I'm in the minority here. A lot of people don't care about detective games, but if we had like an LA Noir 2, or even like at this point, I'd take a fucking NCIS game at this point. Just any detective game just to feed my my hunger. It's like a drug to me. I need it. I don't care what it is. It could be anything at this point. I need it. I just really like detective games. I never want to be a detective in real life. It's just one of those things where I like being them in video games, though. I would love an LA Noire too, but I mean anything. And an original game, just please. Now this one might be a little controversial one, but I think would also be fun. A time traveling game that you go back to the past and do something to alter the future. So for instance, let's just say, what if JFK never got assassinated? What would it be like in the future if JFK never got assassinated? So you go back, you stop JFK from being assassinated, and then you go to the future to see what it's like. I got this idea from watching Back to the Future. I watched all three of them. They're really great movies. I love the whole one little thing changed in the past can alter the future. And I think that would be really great for a game. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be like an assassination. It could be something like, what if you stopped the war? What if you stopped 9/11? What would you do if you stopped? What would happen if this person hadn't done this specific thing or something like that? I think it would be a little fun just to see what would happen and kind of stop that. You could do it in your own way, similar to Hitman, where Hitman has multiple ways to assassinate the person he's assassinating. And also it could be like a story mode too, where you have these little scenarios, and each scenario would change depending on how you do the scenario. I don't know if it would work in a video game. It just sounds a little fun to me, honestly. A boxing game, please, please, please. You know, it's pretty fucked up when we have more cricket games and more lacrosse games on the Xbox One than we do boxing games. I mean, I'm not even the biggest boxing fan, but I really love playing boxing games, honestly. Call of Duty Remastered. Now, there's one of two ways that you could do this. One being the way that I would rather do it, doing it like the Call of Duty China way, where Call of Duty China has all the maps, all the guns, all the perks, everything from every Call of Duty combined into one Call of Duty. You could use all of the Black Ops 2 guns while playing on a Black Ops 1 map while having Modern Warfare 2 perks. I think it would be really fun. You can balance the game and make it a lot more fun. No campaign. I mean, you can add campaign if you want. I just wouldn't recommend doing it. I wouldn't do it. I would just do it in the multiplayer only. Or you could do it the second way, and that's just remaster every game individually. I mean, they already remastered Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, and they're also, I think, doing Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, so you could easily do just like Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2 and World at War and stuff like that. I really love Call of Duty. It holds a special place in my heart, so having the online's remastered and maybe even combined into whole one remastered would be really fun in my opinion. A new Def Jam game, please, please, please. I'm a huge Def Jam fan. I love Def Jam Fight for New York. I hated Icon. Icon was terrible. I mean, you could add rappers. Not all of the people in Def Jam Fight for New York were rappers anyway, so you could add like movie stars too, like they did in Def Jam Fight for New York. It made no sense, but I mean, it was fun. So I just, please, another Def Jam game. That would be great, you know? And last but not least, Jet Set Radio 3. I love the first Jet Set Radio. I love Jet Set Radio Future. We haven't had one in a while. We need to have another Jet Set Radio game. Maybe a lot of people don't care, but I do. I care. And I want a new Jet Set Radio game. Just make it fun, make it entertaining, make it the way the first two games were. And you, bam, you have another good Jet Set Radio game. And those are all of the games that I think that should be made. Those are just games that I think are fun, games that I think would do well. If you want to watch the first one, again, I'll leave a link up here and a link in the description so you can watch the first one. I'll probably do a third one whenever I get more ideas. But thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, give the video a like, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys later.